Welcome and thank you for being here today. Today's conversation is part of our series called Built to be Heard. You're probably familiar with this if you've been joining us on any of the other events. We are also going to be doing other podcast interviews with leaders. We'd love to hear from you if you'd like to participate because we do believe that you were built to be heard. Now, as artificial intelligence continues to change the way we work, the way we communicate, the way we market ourselves, I believe one thing remains true, and I don't think it's going to change. People still do business with people they know, trust, and respect. People for you as the expert in the industry, as the go to person, as the company or individual in a category of one. And today, I'd like to share just three very simple ideas that I hope encourage you and perhaps challenge you to think a little bit differently or maybe do a few things differently as it relates to visibility, leadership, and opportunity. Just because people don't see it doesn't mean it isn't hard or challenging, right? One thing I've learned over the years is that we rarely know what another person is carrying. Even if they're a friend of ours, even if they're a client, they may choose to tell us some things, but they may not tell us all of the weight that is on their shoulders. And behind every leader, entrepreneur, executive, founder, parent, caregiver, healthcare worker, firefighter, the list goes on, right? There are challenges, there are responsibilities, health concerns, disappointments, financial pressure, family responsibilities, leadership. Many people are carrying far more than others realize. And sometimes when that happens, we feel like nobody sees our effort. People are ignoring us. Nobody sees the sacrifice. Nobody sees the work happening behind the scenes. But just because people are not seeing it, it does not mean it does not matter. The work you're doing matters. The efforts you've put in over the years matter. Your contributions matter. So ask your question. And if you're comfortable, please put it in the chat or write it down. Write it down, speak it into your phone. What is one challenge you've overcome that has made you stronger or more compassionate? Point number two, the world cannot benefit from gifts it cannot see. We do not live in a field of dreams. The Field of Dreams movie with Kevin Costner was phenomenal. So many lessons learned, so many business lessons. However, many talented people that we've worked with over the years believe that simply if they work harder, if they work longer hours, people will notice. Sometimes that does happen, but most of the time it doesn't. And even if it does happen, it's at a less a lesser magnitude, where leaders are still being disappointed because maybe they didn't get that promotion because they didn't speak it, they didn't let their higher ups know what they wanted. Or maybe you came up with a phenomenal SaaS product, but not enough people in the right rooms know about it. So it's our responsibility as leaders to make sure that the world does know. And specifically, when I'm speaking about the world, I'm talking about the right people in the right rooms, that they know how we can create those outcomes that they're seeking, those solutions that they need in their lives and businesses. And I work, like I said, with so many talented people. We have worked over the years with scientists that have created one of a kind cosmetic products. We've worked with biotech, we work with IP attorneys, healthcare professionals, executives, founders, consultants, experts, and the list goes on, right? So many of them have valuable experience and insight, but many people cannot benefit enough from those gifts because they don't know about them. There may be some people that have been able to benefit, but not enough. And please know that visibility is not about being egotistical, right? It's also not about becoming the loudest person in the room, but it's about helping people understand how you can help them specifically. You want to be able to answer the questions in their heads before they speak them. So I guess what I'm saying is, visibility is really how can you serve your people in the right rooms at a higher level. So here's the action step, the action question. What is one lesson, skill, experience, or insight that you possess that could really help someone else or some business if they simply knew about it? Write that down or speak that into your phone. Point number 3, you do not need to become someone else to be heard by more of the right people in the right rooms. That's one of the biggest misconceptions about visibility. And we don't need to become more like Joe. We need to become more like ourselves, right? We need to be a bigger version of ourselves. We don't need to become more like Sarah. We don't need to do any kind of copycat thing because we are good the way we are. We will have to do some things differently. Maybe it's just a few things. Maybe over time, it's a gradual change to a lot of things, but you can still remain the person you are. You do not have to become louder or more promotional or more annoying or be the squeaky wheel. You don't have to do that. Now, my dad always taught me growing up, because I didn't grow up with social media. He said, you need to keep a low profile. Keep a low profile. Well, while that worked and kept me out of trouble for the most part, when I was growing up, keeping a low profile does not work in today's world. Whether you have an online business or an offline business, you must be heard by the right people in the right rooms. Now, I know you're probably thinking, well, how can more people see and hear me? Well, it's about what you're going to do to get to that next level. Now, I know we've all heard that what got us here today is not going to get us to where we need to be tomorrow and beyond. And that is true, right? There may be some things that you have to do. We typically do an audit with the people that we work with as a first step so that we can see exactly, what, who is seeing them, where are they, and where do they want to be, and what is the gap, right, between where they are and where they want to be. But the goal is not for you to become someone else. Now, I can tell you that I am a tried and true introvert. You may hear me speak, you may have seen me on stages, and you may not believe me, but I can tell you that that's true. When I got my first job with AT&T out of college, I knew that I was going to have to learn to speak to people. And I really wouldn't be where I was today if it wasn't for AT&T, because they immersed us into selling and what does it take to solve people's problems. They immersed us into lead generation and networking. And I built my first networking group in the community. I can't say enough about that opportunity that I had, because I'm so very grateful. But I had to learn how to talk to people and build relationships with people. But that didn't change who I was at all. I'm still the same person. So the goal really is, like I was saying, to become more fully like yourself, like you were meant to be, because you were meant to help more people. You were meant to be heard and seen by more people. Now, as AI becomes more common, even if you think like 6 months ago, a lot of people resisted it, right? Some people are still resisting it, but we're finding out like you can't really resist it. It's here, right? The thing is, how are you going to use it to be to your benefit, to your business's benefit, or to your employer's benefit, right? But as it becomes more accessible or more usable, trust and relationships and connection and empathy and experience and authenticity are going to become even more important, because people are looking for real people. They're looking for leaders that they can trust, like you. They are looking for people that are open to making connections, whether you're an introvert or an extrovert, right? We have to connect with people. We have to have the conversations, then connect with people. And the future really belongs to those of us who are willing to share your voice and to be heard by more people in the right rooms with the content, with the level of expertise that only you have in that category of one. You must be seen as the expert, as the go-to in that category of one. Final action step. Here's the question. The future, like I said, does belong to leaders who are willing to share your expertise. But what would change if you stopped trying to be someone else and you just started sharing what only you can share in a category of one as the go-to expert? Write that down or speak that into your phone. So thank you for spending part of your afternoon with me. I know it was just a few minutes, and we're going to be doing more Built to be Heard series. Certainly let us know if you're interested in being interviewed. We'd love to have you. I would love to learn more about the people that you're seeking to help. And I definitely agree, Cheryl, that my gosh, if we seek to serve, what you said is brilliant. If we lead with service and we're not like, well, if I do this, what am I going to get? Right? We will be the sought after experts, because we all have that area of expertise, that level of expertise. And it's your point of view too, right, Cheryl, that you're sharing with other people. And, as we have conversations, whether it be in the DMs or we're on Zoom or we're in person, those conversations create the connection. And we can really figure out how can we serve them. And I always like to encourage people that, if you're not being seen and heard by the right people in the right rooms, that is your obligation to get out there and make sure that more of the right people are seeing and hearing you. Because what if you're the best person to serve one of those people or many of those people in those rooms? They may not get the help that they need if they don't know that you exist. So absolutely, if you're interested in being part of the Built to be Heard series, or if we can help you in any way, please reach out and DM me. I'd love to get to know more of the wonderful things that you're doing in the world, Cheryl. And I'm going to leave everyone with these few statements. Again, I would encourage you to write them down or speak them into your phone. But the visibility does get us noticed. It does, right? The credibility that we earn, it absolutely gets us chosen. And relationships can get us referred, but we all know that we can't rely on building a business on just referrals, because we never know when they're coming in. When I had a healthcare company, a private duty caregiving company, I learned this, that, even though I had so many people in the community that were referring me, it was me going out feet on the street. This was 2008, and building relationships and meeting people that I did not know, that were really able to fill our pipeline, because I couldn't wait for just the people at the church or the people that I knew. to bring, to bring referrals. I needed to go out and make sure that I was heard and seen by the right people in the right rooms. And then lastly, the results and the outcomes that we create, they absolutely keep us remembered. They get us remembered because that person in that room that you connected with and you had a conversation with, and then you ended up helping them solve their problem, they will forever be grateful for you. But above all this, I'd like you all to remember, most importantly, that you were built to be heard, specifically by the right people in the right rooms. So I hope that today, these questions, these thought provoking questions, got you thinking. And perhaps now you're maybe a little bit more open to doing a few things differently so that you can get those right people in the right rooms to hear you. Thank you, everyone. I wish you well. And I look forward to learning more about all the amazing things that you're doing in your world. Cheryl, I'm introverted too. I don't know if you were on here when you heard me, but I grew up hearing the saying, children were meant to be seen, not heard. And then when I became a teenager, my wonderful father would tell me, keep a low profile, keep a low profile. So that was something that I carried into, my professional career. And when, then there was social media. So I really had to work to get over that. And I got to tell you that from time to time, I still struggle with that, like for the most part, I'm good. I know that I can't help people if they don't see me or they don't hear me. I'm not on video today, but you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm posting pictures or I'm posting video when I am on, but it doesn't matter if you're introverted or you're extroverted or you're an ambivert or anywhere in between, because when you are seeking to serve people and you get in the right rooms with the right people, then that's what you're meant to do. And you don't have to change. Like I was saying, you don't have to become more like Susie or more like Joe, because, that's not who you are. You are fine, just who you are as Cheryl. And it's just a matter of figuring out, who you're seeking to serve in the world and what you can do to make things better. So I think that's awesome. And I am a big fan of Kelly Roach's Miracle Hour. That is a wonderful way to create connection and conversations. And, I just want to say again that, uh, you know, oh, ambiverted. Okay, wait, Cheryl. I learned that because that's kind of like a blend between introvert and extrovert. Mhm. Ambivert, yeah. You just learned that word like maybe, I don't know, 7 or 8 years ago. I never heard of it because in my mind, I either thought people were introverted or extroverted, and I'm definitely introverted. I've just, over the years learned to speak to people uh, and and be able to kind of get out of my own way so that I can help the people that I'm seeking to serve. So, Cheryl, I'm wondering what you do. So, what I'll do is I'll connect. I'll look you up, and I'll make sure that I'm following you. I'd love to know more about what you do, and if you don't do interviews, that's one way that more of the right people can see and hear you. So, I am going to be interviewing more leaders like yourself to speak about what's driving you, who you're seeking to serve, and I'd love to keep in touch. So, thank you for being here, and thank you to anyone else that listens to this recording. My goal is to make sure that you all know that you, in fact, were built to be heard. So, get out there and let those right people in the right rooms hear you and see you. Take care, everyone.